Hi everyone, this is Dr. David Baker. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of my project, Coping with 2020 Current Events. This episode will focus on racial justice, which is a very important topic to me, and it's a topic that undoubtedly is something that triggers a lot of emotions, behaviors, reactions going on in the world today. Um, Something so deep, in, in, impacting me that I need to find a way of expressing some of those feelings. You may or may not want to tune in. You may have some thoughts, feelings, opinions that are similar or very different than mine, and I will allow you to post those thoughts and opinions. Um, Let me take a step back and explain a little bit more about why maybe this topic is so important to me. So in 2007, I completed my Doctor of Psychology in Clinical Psychology education from Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. And as part of that process, I had to do a dissertation, which is typical. Right? The topic of my dissertation was the psychological effects of not having equal rights and privileges in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community, activism as an antidote. As you know, LGBTQ plus legal rights have improved a lot since then. And issues related to social inequality, for racial issues, still exist that are so frustrating. So recently, and I apologize, I will probably need to pause and collect myself at times because this is so emotional that it's difficult for me to just think and speak clearly when I don't have a script in front of me about what I'm going to say. But I am trying not to do that because I want this process to be genuine, authentic to myself, and hopefully it comes off that way to others. But of course, recently there have been a lot of riots, protesting. People have different names for what's going on and interpret things differently. Um, Black Lives Matter movement has been taken to the streets, and this involves people of all races, ethnicities, backgrounds, and I've always greatly supported diversity issues. And in 2020, I don't truly understand why why so many people don't support diversity issues. I think obviously education has a lot to do with that, and maybe some need to be educated on some issues related to social justice. More specifically, and I could probably spend hours talking about lots of things, and the most important, I want to do one video a day on a topic of 2020 current events, and I'm sure lots of them will be on racial justice. Uh, but I think some of the things that have been in my mind today relate to how different people are interpreting the events of a black man being shot by a police officer. So Black Lives Matter movement is strong right now, mostly peaceful protesters. I have not done any of the protesting myself because of the COVID pandemic and my work in the skilled nursing facilities where I could contaminate others, as well as I have a 7-year-old daughter, and as a family, we agreed that we would not participate in those. But believe me, my heart, mind, and soul are at the rallies, the peaceful protests, and I do watch a lot of them live stream and in other ways. As a counter movement, there is Blue Lives Matter movement. And there's also this discussion of Antifa, which I think I'll share, uh, save for another time, because it's such a complex issue on finding Antifa. But I, I personally do believe in law enforcement. I do not want to completely defund all police departments, but some need to be completely defunded or completely the entire force fired and start new. Uh, One example would be in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where this police chief is saying that the 17-year-old was right in his actions and his police officers should not have arrested him, interfered at the time. Um, it's just it's too much. And again, I'm going to try to stick to the role of the psychological impact of all of this. And I think that specific issue with that teenager, who I'm not going to mention his name because he's looking for others to identify him as a hero, and in my mind he is far from that. He is an adolescent, and I hope that he is treated with mercy for that reason uh, in the court system. But his charges and sentence should fit the crime as well. Um, so give me a second. Um, so, well, today, one thing that I was thinking that maybe I could help others understand better is, there's been a lot of talk, memes on Facebook and other social media outlets about racial justice, white privilege, and that people have all kinds of reactions to that. Um, but it's really, it irks me to a great deal to see people post things in response to that, such as, if black people just listened to the police, they would be fine. And there's lots of reasons why that is not okay. It's not as simple as that. It's a very complex issue. But the one thing that strikes me, that white people, other people, law enforcement, everyone needs to understand, is that with everything that has been going on, the statistics related to black men being shot and killed by police officers, often without having a weapon or going for their weapon, there's a lot of trauma, a lot of fear, anger for towards towards police officers, which is right. If this was happening to any other group, it would still be just as right that it's wrong. And there is something, I think that one message is that needs to be understood is that when someone, if a black man is pulled over by a police officer today in the United States of America, with everything that's going on, please try to think about what must be going through that person's mind. And you, as an outsider, are saying to him, just listen to the police, just do what they tell you to do. Well, that would be great if that always worked out, but it doesn't. But also keep in mind that that person, given everything that is going on in the world, is experiencing a lot of trauma, and their brain will go into uh, a fight or flight response that is the default brain for an individual. And I know most of you who are probably watching this video are aware of what the fight or flight response is, but if not, please do some research and I'd be happy to explain it better later. But imagine the black man going into a fight or flight response automatically, not by choice, when pulled over by a police officer, fearing for their life, don't have a weapon in there, just maybe, the different ways that they would be acting as if they're fighting or fleeing in that situation, which are the two general options. Um, Oftentimes, this leads to the police officer having a reaction. Those of you who are in the mental health field or who have people in your families or that you know of well communicating, you know that when someone's anxious, like I'm appearing anxious today, watching it makes you more anxious, doesn't it? So ask yourself that, and you can comment about how unprofessional I am in this video because I'm anxious, but it also makes you more anxious. So I think that's the most important message for today. I did want to try to keep it under 15 minutes, so there are any reactions, I will respond to them. And I will also post another video tomorrow. Thank you all.